Welcome to Battle Companies Season 1, Episode 4. Before we get into the battle reports, I will go over today's scenario and any changes that has been made to the warbands fighting in this first battle. The updates for the other warbands will precede the second battle. Here we can see the scoreboard from the last round. The scenario for the fourth round of Battle Companies will be a show of strength. In this scenario, the objective is for the leaders of the warbands to kill as many models as they can. The game will end at the end of a turn when one battle company has been reduced to 25% of their starting models. The Warg Riders got to choose their deployment zone first. For advancement, Arset got a promotion and got 1 more point of might, choosing the path of the Ranger. Snugug chose the path of the warrior and got 1 more fight. One of the wargs got a promotion and got to be a warg rider with bow. For recruitment, the warg riders got an additional warg. Warband updates for the Army of the Dead. In the last battle, Arthur got the Wounds of a Hero and rolled additional influence points for their warband. Galad chose the path of the General and got the Inspiring Presence, which is a 6-inch banner. Kaspar is totally recovered and lost the arm wound. And for recruitment, the Army of the Dead got 1 spearman with shield and 1 warrior with close combat weapon. And this is the board they are playing on. The Warg Riders got to choose their deployment zones and chose this one. Here we have them split into 3 parties. The Army of the Dead deployed over here. Galad is the general for the Army of the Dead, so we need to keep his kill score. Drozog is the leader of the Warg Riders and he is located over here. The Warg Riders got priority and moved up the entire force. These 2 hanged back and moved only half so they could fire their bows. The Army of the Dead moved up and clustered together over here. These 2 kept out of charge range from the Warg Riders. Arset and the Warg Rider with bow will now shoot at Arthur over here, needing 6s to hit. Nothing. The Army of the Dead got priority and made a shield wall with spear supports to make ready for the inevitable Warg Rider assault. The Warg Riders got some key charges in, but 2 of them failed their courage test and had to stay behind. The other ones just wrapped around to be able to charge next turn. In the first combat, we have Kaspar plus a Warrior of the Dead fighting against Drozog and a friend. And Kaspar gets a 2 and a 3. And the Warg Riders gets a 5, winning the combat with ease. Kaspar is knocked prone and the Warg Riders get 8 attacks to try to kill him. But they need 6s to wound. And they get 3 6s. His fate can't save him from that, so he is dead. And there is 1 point for Drozog and his wargs. In the second combat, Snugug and a warg is fighting against Arthur and a Warrior of the Dead. Warg Riders get 6. And the dead ones get 5. Because of Snugug's promotion, he's getting 1 more fight. So the Army of the Dead cannot tie this with a might point. And the Warg Riders need 6s to kill. Nothing. But Snugug is going to use his points of might to turn that into a 6 and kills the dead guy. Priority went to the Army of the Dead, but Arset is using a heroic move and with me to counter this. Arthur in return are using his point of might to counter and we have a roll-off. 4, 5 or 6 it goes to the dead. Goes to the wargs. Only one of the Warg Riders passed their courage test and that is the one with the throwing weapon. He will move into combat with Galad and throw his spear on his way in. So 5+, he hits, needing 6s by force to kill. Nothing. Now, the army of the dead could pick and choose who to fight, so there is two fights going on here. Galad with spear support and another friend at the rear, and Arthur and another spearman over here trying to kill a warg. The warg sets the bar on a 5. Archer and a spear support gets also 5, which means it is a tie. 4, 5, 6 goes to the army of the dead. And it does! Needing force to kill. And he get it, the warg is dead. In the other battle, the warg rider sets the bar at a 5. Galad responds with a 4. Galad is knocked prone, and the warg rider will need 6s to inflict wounds. He gets 1 6. 8 point. No, Galad is dead. Well, this turned out to be a quick one. Galad didn't kill animals, and he is dead now, so he can't do anything about it. Drozog killed one, so the wargs will win the battle. As the army of the dead don't want to lose any guys to post-battle results, they elect to flee the battlefield. In the second battle, the dwarves got to choose their deployment first. And updates to the warband. Trubo got an old battle wound. Let's see if he can be in this battle. He can. Gando got an additional wound, and Kaza got an additional point of might. Kaza choosing the path of the warrior, and Gando choosing the path of the general. As for recruitment, the dwarves got a Vault Warden team to join them in the fight. The goblins will deploy second in this scenario. For warband updates, one spearman got killed in the last scenario, and spearman 1, 2 and 4 and shield 1 got injured and have to sit this one out. For recruitment, they got another spearman, so he's back, and Gash and Rark got a leg wound each, which means they only move 4 inches in this battle. The board and the scenario is the same as for the last battle. The dwarves deployed first with Gando, a two-handed weapon, and the Vault Warden team starting in the middle of the board. Trubo and his archer friend is starting here, and Kaza with 2 warriors, one with shield, one with two-handed weapon, is taking on the right flank. The 2 limping goblins, Gash and Rark, has taken this flank over here. The goblin archers deployed in the middle of the pack, and Zork with his retinue of warriors is starting over here. I forgot to mention that Gash leveled up last round and got an additional wound, choosing the path of the warrior. The goblins got priority for the first round and moved their forces up. The archers moved up to this building to try to get some shots off next turn, and Gash and Rark are just slowly progressing towards the enemy. All of the dwarves moved closer to the opposing forces. Trubo got stuck when trying to climbing up the building and couldn't get up there, and the rest of the warriors just moved ahead. I would point out that this match is not fair by a long shot. The dwarves have over 50 points more than the goblins, so the goblins receives 3 influence points automatically and have 3 rerolls during the game. For the second round, the dwarf got priority, just moving closer towards the goblins. The one archer got in a position to fire a shot, and Trubo got himself up until the building. And the flanking dwarves got closer to the opposing goblins. The goblins all moved up to get closer, and one archer got in a position to make a shot this turn. Now, this dwarf will try to take a shot at Zork, needing a 5 because he moved. Miss. The goblin archer will fire a shot into Gando, needing 6s. Miss. The goblins got priority and rearranged their positions to make ready for the dwarven assault. The dwarves moved closer because they have to take the fight to the enemy. Trubo got in a firing position, and the other archers shimmied over to the right. Shooting phase. The prowler will throw his daggers at Gando, needing a 5 because he moved. 3 goblin archers will also shoot at Gando, needing 5s, staying still. Nothing. Trubo will take a shot at the goblin with shield. needing 5s to hit. No. Other archer, same targets, needing 5s. The goblins got priority and assaulted the dwarves the best they could. The Moria goblin archers moved down to support their comrades. In the shooting phase, Trubo will shoot at this goblin archer, needing a 4 to hit. He hits, strength of needing 5s to kill. And he doesn't get it, but he will use a point of might to get that up to a 5, killing this goblin. The other dwarven archers will shoot at the goblin to the left, needing 4s to hit. No. In the fight phase, Kaza and Rark are fighting, and Rark gets a 3, and Kaza gets also 3, but he wins on fight value. 5s to kill. No. The next combat is Gosh versus 2 dwarves. Gosh is setting the bar at 1, which means he automatically loses the fight, unless he uses might. Let's see what the dwarves get. The green one is the two-hander. Yeah, well, he lost. Gosh has an arm wound, so he do not have a shield. This means that there is a 5+ on the blue die and a 4+ on the green one. And that is a wound on Gosh. Will he make his fate? No, Gosh is dead. The next fight is the Prowler against the two-handed dwarf. Both are fighting with their two-handed weapon, and the Prowler gets 5. The dwarf, 6. A 4+ to kill. Gando is fighting a goblin. The goblin gets a 6. Gando, 2. Goblin needs a 6 to kill and doesn't get it. I'm afraid that was his chance. The next fight will be a goblin spearman against the shield. Goblin gets 5, which means the shield needs a 6 because of its -1 penalty. And it gets it! So he wins on fight value. He has a strength of 4, so we only need 4s to kill the goblin. And he does. The goblin is dead. Sork against the foe spear. Sork gets a 3. And the dwarf, 4. 5s to wound. He get it. Sork will fate. And he saves. Once again, the Moria goblins got priority and engaged the enemy as best they could. The dwarves responded and got some charges in there. Trubo was unlucky and fell down from the ruins. The other dwarven archer got down just fine. But Trubo has to test 2 strength, 3 hits. Let's see if he is okay. On 6s, he takes wounds. And 1 6, which means he takes a wound. Has to make his fate roll. He does. In the combat phase, Kaza is fighting Rark. Rark sets the bar at a 3, and Kaza gets a 1. Rark will need a 6 to wound Kaza, and it doesn't get it. Next fight, the Goblin Bowman gets 2, and the Dwarf gets also 2, but he will win on fight value. 5s to kill? No. Next fight, the Goblin gets a 5, and the Dwarf gets also 5 and wins on fight value. 5s to kill? No. Prowler against a Dwarf with two-handed axe. The Prowler gets 1 and automatically loses the fight. Let's just see what the Dwarf would get. He will get a 4. The Prowler uses 1 reroll to try to counter this, and he gets a 4, but it's not enough, unfortunately. 4+, he's dead, and he is. In the next fight, the Goblin is overwhelmed, so he will be shielding. Getting the 6. Gando gets 5, and the shield, 4. In the last fight, Sork will try to get this foe spear down, and he gets a 5, and the foe spear gets a 6. 5s to kill? No. Once again, the goblins got priority and engaged the dwarves on all fronts. Trubo got up on his feet and moved closer to the engagements. The other archer moved over here. Fight phase. Kaza against Rark. Rark gets a 5 and Kaza gets also 5. Kaza needs 5s to kill Rark. No. In the next fights, the goblin gets 1 and loses automatically. And the dwarf needs 5s to kill. No. The last goblin archer gets a 1 and also loses automatically. That is not true because this dwarf has a 2-handed weapon. And the dwarf gets a 5. The dwarf needs 4s to kill. No. In this fight, the goblin will be shielding. He got the 6. And Gando, the blue dice, gets a 5. Gando will might this, so he wins the fight. 5+ on the blue die and 4+ on the white one. Nothing. Zork is fighting the Vault Warden team, and Zork gets a 4. And the dwarves also 4. Zork will might this into a 5, winning the combats. Making strikes at the foe spear, needing a 6. No. He will use his second reroll to try and kill him. No. The dwarves got priority and engaged every goblin. In the first fight, Rark will be shielding and he gets 4. Kaza and the dwarf 2. The first goblin archer gets a 2 and the dwarf gets 2, winning the combats. 5s to kill the archer and he get it. Yoink. The last archer gets a 6 and the dwarf gets a 5. 6s to kill the dwarf. No. Gando versus a goblin with shield who will be shielding and he gets 4. And Gando 4, winning the combats. Will this be his first victory points, needing a 5 up? And he do. Will Zork be able to answer this? Zork gets 3. Vault Warden shield 6, so he loses the combats. And wounding 4+ on the blue one, 5 on the rest. Oh, 3 wounds. Zork is just killed. This means that Moria has been reduced to under 25% of their starting numbers. Gando has 1 kill and Zork has 0. This means that the dwarves are victorious. Here we have the scoreboard. This is it for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our latest videos and be a part of our growing community. We appreciate your support and it encourages us to create more valuable content. So go ahead, hit the like and subscribe buttons and we'll see you in the next video.